Have you ever driven over a highway bridge and couldn't help but look below? Or stood on a shoreline's rocky ridge just to watch the water flow? And count yourself as one of the few with a different set of dreams, the kind that keeps you up at night, 'cause you can't wait to get to that stream. It's more than a river. It's more than the water flowing or where it's going. It's the grip on the paddle and the shit in the saddle, the V and the boulders and the lean in the shoulders. When you reach for the eddy, it doesn't get better than this. Yes, it's more. So much more than a river.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live Conversations with Cross Currents Leadership. We are live on Facebook, Substack, and YouTube. We are doing this twice a month, all summer long, talking to experts across paddle sports and outdoor recreation to help you level up your paddle sports leadership for 2026, getting those golden nuggets that are going to make the difference in the work that you're doing out there in the paddle sports community. Tonight, I am excited to welcome Zach Kauffman from Sawyer Paddles and Oars. And we are going to talk about an amazing statewide initiative that is coming to life this week in Oregon. Zach, thank you so much for taking time and on Mother's Day of all days to help me talk about this great initiative.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there watching, and mine included.
Absolutely. And so what's going on, guys? We've got this Oregon Fit to Float event that's going to happen on Friday, May 15th. That's this Friday at multiple locations across the state of Oregon from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a life jacket fitting event. So it's perfectly designed for you to take your youth, your family, your paddling crew, your Boy Scout troop, your Girl Scout troop, whoever you need to take out there and help empower their water sports for the summer. It's just going to be so much fun. We've got all these different locations participating. Zach, I really want to talk for just a minute because this has been such a fun collaboration to bring to life. Let's talk a little bit about how the idea came up. I know it was an idea that you and others had been sort of bouncing around and talking about.
Yeah.
You and I met at the Paddle Sports Trade Coalition at the CoLab. Let's talk about what that process was like.
So basically Sawyer, we've been a manufacturer for years, and we started a podcast just to start connecting some of the voices of our industry. And one of the things with the podcast is that we interview guides, outfitters, folks that are kind of as part of the industry, just really doing the tours and kind of things, but also some of the agencies that kind of affect what is going on and really directly more to what connects to our immediate waterways. And Sawyer's always been quite an ally of our marine law enforcement, and so they basically around here they don't really patrol the rivers in kayaks. They're in drift boats, rafts, or power boats, and so they all need oars. They come to us for oars. I've given presentations to the Marine Department and that kind of thing, and our state Marine Board was also kind of working with the Sheriff's Department, trying to kind of do life jacket outreach, because in Oregon last year we had a handful of stand-up paddleboard drownings, river deaths, and so that got a lot of people's attention, and it was like, what is going on here? And so there were all these lengthy debates about leashes and proper gear and all this kind of thing. And I mean, basically it's people get a board anywhere they can, and then they take a pretty much lake specific board and go head down the river. And, and that's really where a lot of the problem has come. But so through that little bit, we were doing these podcast events, and Priscilla with the State Marine Board is she used to guide in the area. I've known her for quite some time, and ironically, I ended up getting an email from the sheriff's department, and then she was CC'd on it, and the sheriff was like, I think you might know this person. And so then Priscilla calls me up and she's like, yeah, I was kind of thinking it was that Zach. And so just kind of that small world that it was. And so we got on the river. We did a podcast episode. We're doing interviews as we're floating down the river. And, we're talking about a lot of things that are just Marine Board and river related. And we start talking about life jackets and start talking about the fact that life jackets from a state level are just a requirement, right? At certain ages, you have to wear them. And then, you have to have as many adult passengers in the boat. You got to have that many life jackets, but they don't require you to wear them unless they're on class 3 or above. And so that whole discussion kind of came about. And then one of the Marine deputies from Coos Bay was there, Luke, and he was like, yeah, we do a lot of presentations to school groups. And he says that the thing that's very interesting is that the age that they're required to wear the life jacket is 12 and under. And he says, you go into middle school and you're talking to these kids and they're so excited about turning 13 so they don't have to wear a life jacket. And he's like, so he has to present that that's not the thing. That's not the direction you want to be going. And he says this, it's always the same thing. It's young boys, and they always just want to tell them how great of a swimmer they are. Yeah. And so we got into this discussion. I'm like, yeah, well, a lot of that is, a lot of that faulting is on the parent because they don't actually get a jacket that fits the child, right? A lot of parents take on the concept of, unfortunately, I want to get a life jacket that my kid can grow into because, the kids grow fast and they grow right out of life jackets, and it's almost like so we got to brainstorming a little bit about that. We talked a little bit about a life jacket exchange program. And in Oregon, you're aware that they have the loaner program, which basically has several access points around multiple waterways. There's loaner programs where people can just grab a jacket if you need one. You can reach out to the State Marine Board and find out where that is. They actually have a map of all the waterways in the state with the State Marine Board, and they can actually find that, and so we got to talking about that. And then we got to talking about the fact that if a life jacket fits well, then the child will wear it, right? And we kind of drew this picture of, life jacket wearer 1 is the child with the perfectly fitting life jacket, and they're like all gung-ho ready to go. The thing's tight as can be around their torso. It's not going anywhere. And then split screen right next to them is the child that's in the horse collar life jacket strapped around them. And it's like, yes, they are both life jackets and they will both serve a purpose. But is that child really getting the best experience on the water? And so we went over and over about that. And I just jokingly said on the podcast, I'm like, wouldn't it be great if we could just get a statewide life jacket fitting week? And actually, like, we could get this in schools. And like, as we were talking, that's kind of where we were first thinking. And, we've scaled back from that just for the first year. But then you and I, we connected at the PTC collab, and, collab's in the name. It worked out. And we start brainstorming. And as it turns out, I'm working with, as one of the executive members of the ACA Regional Activity Council. We partner with Coast Guard Auxiliary all the time to get volunteers for safe boating events like this. And we were looking for a new event model that we could pilot in one state and hopefully grow to more states that doesn't have to require, like our Kayaking 101 model is a phenomenal event model, but it requires having a lot of instructors engaged. Right. And it requires having water that's warm enough to paddle in mid-May during Safe Boating Week. And in places in the country where either the water's not warm enough to paddle for beginners, or we don't have enough volunteers who are experts, who are instructors, engaged from day one, we needed an alternate event model. So, man, the timing of us bringing these ideas together, it really was phenomenal.
And to your point, we did some brainstorming. We had to sort of refine the idea a little bit at first before we got to what year one is going to look like. So, and even then, we looked at it very much as a pilot project. This is our year one implementation.
Right. And, like one of the things that I've identified is that, Central Oregon is a big populous area, and there's a lot of water access there.
Mm-hmm.
And just unfortunately, the 15th of May kicks off the Pole Pedal Paddle, which literally is an event that takes over that entire town. So we almost have to find somebody in Central Oregon that has nothing to do with Pole Pedal Paddle. And actually, they need to be kind of out of the area a little ways, because, it's like traffic jam central in that town just all during the day, And so Friday afternoon is not as bad because everybody's coming into town. But, they stage, it's several football fields of floated craft, which are basically all these team members that are going to come down off the mountain from skiing, from biking, from running, and then get in their boat and paddle downriver, upriver. And, it's a big event. And, and so it's like, so that's some of the challenging things is really like trying to get a day to fit a national event. And so we've kind of, we've softened the messaging a little bit as far as, like, hey, this is what this event is. But even if you're identifying that that's a need, if you don't get here for this, use a local shop. You use the state Marine Board, use a local shop that you can go in and get life jackets fitted. And I've always said that, that's a place where you want to shop local. When you're getting a life jacket fitted, you don't want to just phone it in. You want
that's
go
right.
spend some time. Everybody's body shapes are different, and there's going to be a life jacket that will fit you better than another one. And with children, that's the thing is like, unfortunately, having your child grow into a life jacket is not the best thing, unless, there are some that you can get that work really well as far as you can get them really cinched up, really so that it actually snug to their torso and doesn't move up over their shoulders. But, it's got to be small enough. It's not going to last them forever. And
the technical term from the Coast Guard is that it's supposed to be comfortably snug.
Yep. Well, yeah. I worked as an outfitter for years, and we would snug life jackets down on people, and they would be like, "Whew, really?" It's like, if you are in the water in these rapids, you will thank me. And when we get done with all the white water, we'll let you loosen a little bit. And it's like one of those things that never fails. Like on really more intense rivers, you get to like this top of the canyon. And that was like one of the things every one of our guides is like, okay, I'm going to do a life jacket check. I'm going to do a walk around in my boat here. And you're just grabbing all the straps, and you're never fails. You find one person in there that's just like totally loosened their jacket up as soon as they got fitted. And then you're just like, oh no.
No, we're not going to the rapids like this.
Babies up. These are not coming off. It's like floating is better than not floating.
That's right. Well, once we were able to get the ACA state director engaged, once we got Priscilla and the Oregon State Marine Board engaged, and we even got the U.S. Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary engaged, although that obviously with the shutdown has been a little bit problematic here for our year one implementation. But we really then were able to go recruit the host sites, which was the next critical stage for our pilot project. And I think for any state that's looking to do a pilot project, that would be a great lesson learned, right? And we had to go recruit our peers, our retailers, our outfitters, and the host sites that are going to host this event.
Yeah, and right now, I think we're fairly centralized on the I-5 corridor, but we definitely have, Southern, Central, and Northern Oregon covered, and so there's definitely a location within an hour or so from most folks, and Central Oregon being that one spot that we know that we'd want to try and get a participant.
Room for growth and improvement next year.
That's right. So
just to reiterate, guys, this is going to be on Friday. It's on May the 15th from 3 to 6 p.m., 8 different locations. Bring your family, bring your paddling crew, get all fitted up. In the show notes, I have included the link to the website so you can see all the details. It'll answer all your questions. It includes a map with all the locations of our 8 Fit to Float partner locations. It includes all the details. We certainly want to give a shout out to each of these locations: Paddle Shack, Alder Creek, Kaiser Fire District, River House, Oregon Paddle Sports, SOTAR, Sawyer Station, of course, and Indigo Creek. These are all the folks that have participated and are making their locations available for this community event on Friday afternoon. We should support them. And just keep in mind, this is all about empowering your adventures all summer. It's a free event. Come find a life jacket that fits. We're all about it.
Absolutely. Swing by one of those locations. You can get your life jacket fitted. They'll be giving away stickers and that kind of thing. We've got a nice sticker or location for the event itself right there. And also State Marine Board gives out whistles at these things. So like we were talking earlier, you never can have too many whistles. And so it's just a great way to swing in, pick up some cool stickers to remind you of the event, and grab a whistle and make sure you're ready to get out on the water.
That's absolutely right. So with that, Zach, thank you for joining me. I'm going to make a couple of announcements real quick. If you'll just hang with me for a sec.
For sure.
I want to thank everybody who has subscribed through whatever channel is convenient for you to Cross Currents Leadership, but especially those of you who subscribed on Substack to get the free email updates. And my heartfelt gratitude to those of you who upgraded from that free subscription to actually support our work here. I actually just got back in town from going to the national training event for Coast Guard Auxiliary and state officials in Charleston. Your support not only keeps me caffeinated on a day-to-day basis, but it also helps me to volunteer for events like Oregon Fit to Float and the National Coast Guard Auxiliary Training. So I really appreciate y'all's support and making that possible. We will, in other news, I want to give one shout out for these paddles behind me, these Aquabound Bending Branches paddles. They donated these paddles so that we could rehome them with young instructors and folks that are coaching up beginners out in the marketplace. And I was able to give all of those a new home most of the week of this week and the last couple of weeks. And these last 3 are going to find their new home this week. So I want to give a shout out to Sawyer and to all the other folks out there watching. Whoever wants to send us some gear to rehome to young instructors, you can be the next podcast decor and gear going on a side quest. So Zach, you think you got anything hanging around?
We can handle that.
Well,
just send me the
sure
sizes.
love to find it a home among our young instructors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so next time over the summer, you see me doing the podcast, you'll see Sawyer paddles behind me. And we'll be moving on to the next era of our messaging.
Sounds great.
So guys, I want to thank all of you for everything you've done to support what we're doing here with these live streams. We'll keep doing this 2 times a month all summer, and we'll just see you next time. Happy National Safe Boating Week, everybody.
See you later.